we'll take the offering now.
Now, visitors generally declare that the Cathedral of St. Mark's is the jewel of Venice. In addition to its importance as a treasure house of art, it was destined to play an important role in the history of music. The very splendor and richness of the church seems to have demanded elaborate music, while its architecture made possible the spatial orientation of music, which resulted in the creation of antiphonal music of magnificence, which had never been equaled. The music of St. Mark's culminated in the polychoral works of Giovanni Gabrieli. The principle of the alteration of two groups of performers is probably almost as old as the history of music itself, and this principle was conscientiously developed early in the history of Christian church liturgy. As new tonal and technical resources were developed, they found their way into antiphonal music. Whereas the usual polychoral composition of the time was in 8 parts for 2 choirs, Gabrieli expanded this at will. His works were dominated by contrast in space, of high and low voices, of forte and piano, of separate choirs and whole ensembles, and by a love of sound for the sake of sheer sound. His rhythm is simple, strong, and unmistakable, as it had to be if the performers were to stay together. One of his favorite devices is the building of a climax within a work by gradually increasing the rhythmic complexity. His harmonic treatment is also simple, with a strong diatonic feeling and a regularity of harmonic change. Taken as a whole, Gabrieli's music was well suited to its purpose and surroundings. Simple, yet splendid. The canzone Duodecimi Toni. Christian Herald magazine, in a poll presented to its readers, has named How Great Thou Art the #1 hymn in America. The original Swedish text was a poem entitled O store Gud, written by a Swedish pastor, the Reverend Carl Moberg, in 1886. His inspiration for this text is said to have come from a visit to a beautiful country estate on the southeastern coast of Sweden. He was suddenly caught in a midday thunderstorm with awe-inspiring moments of flashing violence, followed by a clear, brilliant sun. Soon afterwards, he heard the calm, sweet songs of the birds in nearby trees. The experience prompted the pastor to fall to his knees in humble adoration of his mighty God. He penned his exaltation in a 9-stanza poem. The subsequent history of this hymn is most interesting. The text was soon translated into German by Manfred von Glehn. In 1927, I.S. Wachenhoff came upon the German version and translated it into Russian. In 1933, the Reverend S.K. Hein and his wife, both young English missionaries, were ministering to the people of Ukraine. It was there they learned the Russian translation of O store Gud from a congregation of Ukrainians. They remember singing it as a duet in dark, unevangelized places, and the telling effect it had on the unsaved. The thought of writing English lyrics to this song did not occur to them. That was to wait for their crossing into Carpathian Russia, where the mountain scenery was to play its part. The thoughts of the first 3 verses in English were born, line by line, amid unforgettable experiences in the Carpathian Mountains. When war broke out in 1939, it was necessary for Reverend Hein and his wife to return to Britain. Now armed with these 3 verses, Hein continued his gospel campaigns during the Blitz years. The 4th verse did not come until after the war. The 4 movements of Jane Poole's arrangement are miniature tone poems. As the entire hymn tune is played straight through, in each descriptive setting, the mood of each verse is developed. Here, 4 individual quintets will play the separate movements. O Lord my God, when I in awesome wonder consider all the works thy hand hath made, I see the stars, I hear the mighty thunder, thy power throughout the universe displayed. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee, how great thou art. When through the woods and forest glades I wander, I hear the birds sing sweetly in the trees. When I look down from lofty mountain grandeur and hear the brook and feel the gentle breeze, then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee, how great thou art. But when I think that God, his Son not sparing, sent him to die, I scarce can take it in. That on the cross, my burden gladly bearing, he bled and died to take away my sin. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee, how great thou art. When Christ shall come with shout of acclamation and take me home, what joy shall fill my heart? Then I shall bow in humble adoration and there proclaim, my God, how great thou art. king's violins at age 18, and by the age of 20, became the organist at Westminster Abbey. His church anthems, his music for the stage, as well as his songs and instrumental sonatas, suites, and fantasias, all convey the perfected style of a clear, bright spirit. As a court composer, notably to Charles II, and as organist at Westminster Abbey and to the Chapel Royal, Purcell composed a large body of choral music for ceremonial occasions. He wrote a great many instrumental pieces and produced even more music for the thriving Restoration Theatre, composing the first great English opera, Dido and Aeneas. A prominent name in his own short lifetime, he has been acknowledged as possibly the greatest English composer until the rise of Sir Edward Elgar at the end of the 19th century. We now hear Trumpet, Tune, and Air by Henry Purcell. Andrew Lloyd Webber's Requiem was completed in 1984 and had its first performance in Ohio by the Baldwin Wallace Conservatory of Music in November of 1985. The writing of the Requiem was prompted by the death of his father, William Lloyd Webber, in 1982, and is dedicated to his memory. Lloyd Webber explained that while the work was taking shape, he was deeply moved by a newspaper account of a Cambodian boy forced to choose between his own life and that of his sister. This story led to the inclusion of a solo part for boy treble to complement those of soprano and tenor. While not intended for the theater, the music of the Requiem has much in common with Lloyd Webber's show tunes. He is perhaps the only composer active today who could have a hit from the setting of the solemn Missa pro defuntos, or Mass for the Dead, as in fact he did when the aria for treble and soprano, Pie Jesu, unexpectedly climbed the pop charts in Great Britain 7 years ago. Pie Jesu by Andrew Lloyd Webber. Entrada Festiva is a highly impressive composition in a modern idiom, which is ideal for use as a processional or recessional on festival days of the church year, for services of thanksgiving, or for music festivals. Originally scored with organ, 2 trumpets, 2 trombones, timpani, and unison chorus, it is based on a rich and meaningful medieval text and its music. The chorus part, Christus vincit, Christus regnat, Christus imperat, appears here in the high trombones and solo horn in the middle of the piece. and the organ toward the end of the composition. The composer Flor Pages was a distinguished and far-famed organ virtuoso of the early 20th century. Interestingly, he was born and died on the same date, July 4th, in Belgium. Entrata Festiva by Flor Pages. musicians and I thank you for coming this afternoon on behalf of the Middleburg Early Education Center. After the concert, you're invited to a time of light refreshment in the classroom area, down the hall and to the right. Now, the final number, which needs no lengthy introduction, a piece for brass, band, and percussion, and one of the most popular of John Philip Sousa's 135 marches, the Washington Post.